Have you ever felt that life keeps repeating itself, as if you've lived the same moments, faced the same choices, and met the same souls over and over again? What if time isn't a straight line but an endless, eternal, and inescapable circle? The myth of the eternal return is the idea that everything returns, that history, destiny, and even your own existence are bound to repeat. It's one of the most haunting and fascinating ideas in all of philosophy. And maybe, just maybe, it holds a secret about how to live with purpose, even in a world that endlessly repeats. The myth of the eternal return goes back thousands of years, to ancient civilizations that saw time not as progress, but as rhythm. To the Babylonians, Egyptians, and Hindus, time was a wheel. The seasons turned, stars rose and fell, kingdoms rose and collapsed, and all things came back to where they began. Nothing was truly lost, only reborn in another form. Life, death, and rebirth weren't separate events. They were stages of a single, repeating dance. But then came modern man, the man who saw time as linear. We started to believe in progress, in history moving forward, in the idea that the future would be different from the past. Science, technology, and philosophy are all built on this belief. Yet beneath this march of progress, the ancient rhythm still echoes. The idea that nothing truly changes keeps haunting us. Because deep down, we sense it. Our lives are patterns. We wake, work, love, suffer, and dream. Again and again. No philosopher captured this haunting truth more powerfully than Friedrich Nietzsche. He didn't invent the idea of eternal return, but he turned it into a psychological test, a spiritual challenge. Nietzsche asked a question that still cuts to the bone. What if one day, a demon were to tell you that this life, as you now live it, you must live again and again, infinitely many times, with every pain, every joy, every mistake, every breath, the same? Would you collapse in despair, or would you say yes? Would you bless your existence so completely that you'd want to relive it eternally? That question, Nietzsche said, is the ultimate measure of your spirit. Eternal return isn't just a theory about time, it's a mirror for your soul. It asks, are you living in such a way that you would willingly repeat this life forever? Are you awake, or are you drifting in cycles you never chose? But what if the myth is more than metaphor? What if reality itself is cyclical? In modern cosmology, some theories suggest that the universe expands and contracts in endless cycles. Big bang, big crunch, and then another bang again. In Hindu philosophy, time is divided into yugas, great cosmic ages that repeat endlessly, each one reflecting the rise and fall of consciousness itself. Even in nature, everything is cyclical: birth and decay, growth and death, day and night, inhale and exhale. Maybe the universe breathes just like we do, and we, being part of it, can never escape its rhythm. The question is not whether the cycles exist, but whether we're conscious within them. Think about your own life. How many times have you found yourself in the same kind of relationship, the same argument, the same fear, just with different faces and different settings? We repeat patterns, not because fate demands it, but because consciousness is slow to awaken. The eternal return isn't punishment, it's opportunity. Life keeps repeating lessons until we learn them. The circle becomes a spiral when awareness enters it. Ancient mythologies understood this well. The serpent that eats its own tail, the Ouroboros, is not a symbol of destruction, but of renewal. It means that every end is also a beginning, every death a hidden birth. The same symbol appears in alchemy, in Egyptian temples, and in the visions of mystics across centuries, all pointing to the same truth. Life returns not to trap us, but to refine us. Each turn of the wheel offers another chance to awaken. Nietzsche's challenge, then, isn't to escape the cycle, it's to affirm it. To live in such a way that even if time were to repeat forever, you would still embrace it. That's not fatalism, It's the deepest form of freedom. Because once you accept that everything returns, you stop waiting for a better future. You start living fully, now, in this very moment. The Stoics had a word for this attitude, amor fati, the love of one's fate. It means saying yes to all that is, not just the pleasant parts. It means recognizing that the pain, the boredom, the heartbreak, all of it is part of a cosmic rhythm that shapes your soul. You can curse the cycle, or you can dance with it. And maybe that's what enlightenment really is. Not escape from the wheel of life, but the realization that you are the wheel itself. When I think about the eternal return, I don't see it as a curse. I see it as a question that demands courage. If I had to live this day again, would I still speak these words? Would I still make the same choices? Would I still love, even knowing it might all return to dust? Because if I can answer yes, even once, then the cycle becomes sacred. Time becomes not a prison, but a song. Maybe that's the secret hidden in the myth, that eternity isn't something that begins after death. It's happening right now, in every breath we take, in every sunrise we witness, in every choice we repeat until we finally choose differently. The cycle doesn't end, but we can awaken within it. And that changes everything. What happens when we begin to see life not as a straight path, but as a circle of endless becoming? Something shifts inside us. We stop obsessing over the illusion of arrival. We realize there is no final destination, no perfect version of ourselves waiting at the end of time. There is only this eternal unfolding, again and again. The same sunrise, the same heartbeat, the same choice between fear and freedom. The myth of the eternal return doesn't imprison us. It invites us to wake up in the middle of the loop and see the pattern for what it is, a mirror reflecting our own consciousness. Carl Jung once wrote that what we do not make conscious returns to us as fate. Think about that. Maybe the cycles of your life are not cosmic punishments, but echoes of what you've left unresolved. The same types of people appear in your story because you haven't yet learned what they came to teach. The same emotions visit you because they still carry messages you refuse to hear. When you see this clearly, repetition becomes revelation. Every cycle is a doorway to awareness. And yet, most people run from this truth. We chase novelty, change cities, switch jobs, replace lovers, hoping to escape the pattern. But the circle follows us because it lives within us. You can't escape what you are. The moment you accept that, the entire rhythm of life begins to change. The pattern no longer owns you. You own it. There's a strange freedom in realizing that everything returns. It strips away the illusion of control. You begin to act not because you believe you can manipulate the future, but because you recognize the sacred weight of the present. Each gesture, each thought, each word becomes an eternal echo. Nietzsche said, "Everything goes, everything comes back, eternally rolls the wheel of being." To live with that awareness is to live with radical intensity. Nothing becomes trivial. Every decision counts forever. But there's also a deeper mystery hidden within the myth. If everything returns, does that mean we are trapped? Or could it mean that we are immortal? Maybe every moment we live is already eternal, looping infinitely through time, preserved in the vast memory of the cosmos. The thought is terrifying and comforting at once. If you suffer now, that suffering may echo forever. But so will every act of courage, every kindness, every spark of love. Eternity, then, isn't somewhere beyond death. It's the weight your choices carry right now. The ancients didn't separate the spiritual from the cosmic. To them, the cycles of nature reflected the cycles of the soul. The moon died and was reborn, just as the human spirit falls into darkness and rises again. The seed decays before it blossoms. The tide retreats before it returns. In every rhythm of nature, there is a lesson in surrender. The eternal return is not a call to despair, it's a call to trust. Nothing truly ends. What dies today prepares the soil for what will bloom tomorrow. So how do we live in harmony with the circle? Perhaps it begins with remembering. Remembering that life isn't something to escape from, but something to awaken to. When you see repetition not as monotony, but as rhythm, every day becomes an opportunity to perfect your dance. You may not control the cycle, but you can choose how you move within it. You can choose grace over resistance, awareness over sleep. Some traditions teach that when consciousness fully awakens, the cycle transforms. The wheel no longer binds the awakened soul. It becomes a mandala, a sacred design revealing the unity behind all things. You stop asking, "When will this end?" and start asking, "How can I live this moment so completely that I would gladly live it again?" That's when the eternal return becomes not a burden, but a blessing. We live in a culture obsessed with progress, with forward motion, with the idea that more is always better. But what if wisdom isn't found in the next achievement, but in the realization that everything you seek is already here, repeating itself until you notice? The myth of the eternal return whispers, "Slow down, look closer. Everything you've ever longed for is already happening, again and again." When you watch the sunrise tomorrow, know that you've seen it before. Not just yesterday, but across lifetimes of remembering and forgetting. When you feel love, recognize it as the same current that has always moved through you, the same force that drives stars to burn and rivers to flow. When you suffer, know that even this pain has returned countless times. And yet here you are, still capable of compassion, still capable of beginning again. That is the miracle of the cycle. So maybe the question isn't whether you can escape the eternal return. Maybe the real question is, can you live in such a way that you would want it to return? Can you embrace each repetition as a sacred echo of eternity? Because in the end, the myth isn't about time at all. It's about presence, about waking up fully to the now, so that even if the wheel of existence spins forever, your awareness remains still at its center. The circle turns, but the awakened soul watches calmly, smiling, knowing that nothing is ever truly lost. And maybe that's the ultimate truth. The eternal return isn't punishment. It's grace disguised as repetition. It's the universe giving you infinite chances to live with depth, to love without fear, to awaken without end. Would you want this moment to return forever? If your answer is yes, then you've already stepped beyond time itself. If this reflection stirred something in you, share your thoughts in the comments. What does the idea of eternal return mean to you? Could you embrace your life if it repeated forever? And if you found meaning in this exploration, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Because some ideas, like the eternal return, deserve to be revisited again and again.